There are wins and then there are statements. Charlie Woods didn't just capture a title at the AJGA TaylorMade Invitational. He demanded the golf world's attention. He finished the tournament well under par, playing with the confidence of someone far beyond his years. In just one weekend, the conversation around him changed. Speculation turned into certainty. Charlie Woods had arrived. What made this victory special wasn't just the number on the scorecard, it was the way he carried himself. Round after round, his swing was smooth, his putting sharp, and his composure unshaken. Fans expecting the nerves of youth instead saw a competitor who looked like he belonged at the top. This wasn't about Tiger's shadow. This was about Charlie making his own name. Birdie after birdie stacked onto his card, silencing doubts with every putt that dropped. His final round was a showcase 8 birdies that turned what could have been a tense finish into a commanding victory lap. And here's the truth. A win like this doesn't happen because of a famous last name. Talent alone doesn't explain dominance. What Charlie showed came from hours of practice, resilience, and hunger. He earned every stroke. Even the skeptics had to pause. This wasn't nepotism. It wasn't legacy. It was Charlie forcing the conversation onto himself. For a moment, fans glimpsed the possibility of a new Woods era, not as a copy of Tiger, but as a continuation with his own style and flair. But golf has a way of keeping every player grounded. That reality hit Charlie hard at the U.S. Junior Amateur, where the cheers of his breakthrough victory gave way to the sting of missing the cut. What was supposed to confirm his momentum, instead, became a harsh reminder of how unforgiving the game can be. After dominating 1 week, expectations soared. Every mistake felt magnified. Charlie fought back in the second round with a stronger 74. But it wasn't enough to undo the damage from day one. In golf, potential doesn't guarantee results. Every round is earned. And for Charlie, the toughest part wasn't the scorecard, was the silence that followed. Headlines shifted from birdies to inconsistency. And for a teenager carrying one of the most famous names in sports, that silence weighed heavily. The silence after Charlie Woods' missed cut was almost louder than the cheers from his victory days earlier. For a teenager under the brightest spotlight in golf, the stumble spoke volumes. But within that disappointment lies a lesson no trophy can teach. Missing the cut isn't an ending, it's a beginning. It's the moment when flashes of brilliance are tested against the grind required for lasting greatness. Growth in sports is rarely a straight line. It's uneven, filled with peaks and valleys, victories and setbacks. For Charlie, this was simply another chapter. Golf, perhaps more than any other sport, humbles its players. Just when you think you've figured it out, the game shifts and delivers a harsh reminder of how unforgiving it can be. Charlie learned that truth at the U.S. Junior Amateur. After a shaky first round, he fought back with a stronger 74, but the early damage couldn't be undone. Fans, media, and analysts who had just celebrated his rise were left with silence instead of roars. And for someone with the name Woods, that silence felt heavier than most. But even so, the setback wasn't wasted. Each stumble builds resilience. Each failure sharpens the mental edge talent alone cannot provide. The greatest golfers in history have walked off courses questioning themselves. Charlie now joins that tradition. What defines him won't be the missed cut, it will be how he responds to it. In golf, resilience is the only score that truly matters. For Charlie Woods, the real test wasn't the missed cut, was what came after. Resilience, not scorecards, is what separates potential from greatness. Instead of letting the setback weigh him down, Charlie turned it into motivation. Away from the cameras, he went to work. He reshaped not just his swing, but his body, his mindset, and even the way he carried himself. The changes were impossible to miss. His frame looked leaner, His stride had more purpose, and his posture showed confidence. This wasn't about appearance, it was about performance. Charlie began to look less like a young golfer chasing the game and more like an athlete prepared to own it. The difference showed on the course. His drives carried farther, his approach shots landed with more precision, and his stamina held steady. Through all 18 holes. Less weight, more strength, less doubt, more fire. But the biggest shift wasn't physical, it was mental. The teenager who once looked unsettled under pressure now stood calmer, sharper, and more focused. Instead of being rattled by nerves, he used them as fuel. Every swing, every putt, carried intent. This wasn't just the progress of a kid trying to impress, it was the evolution of a competitor. Charlie moved from flashes of brilliance to consistency, from promise to presence. The transformation was clear. It wasn't just mechanics. It was mindset. Charlie's growth wasn't just about fixing his swing, it was about changing how he approached the game. He committed fully to the grind, the long hours, and the discipline. Golf demands. That commitment became the real swing change. And the result was clear. He no longer looked like Tiger's son trying to keep pace. He looked like Charlie Woods, carving out his own identity. But Charlie's story isn't only about golf fits, also about inheritance. Not just the lessons from his father, but the wealth, the fame, and the expectations that come with one of the most famous names in sports. A trust fund worth millions may already be in place, but money doesn't reduce the pressure of competition. You can't bank confidence, and no fortune can buy victory. The truth is, privilege works both ways. Yes, Charlie has resources most juniors could never imagine: top coaching, world-class facilities, and Tiger's wisdom at his side. But with every advantage comes double the scrutiny. For some, his last name isn't just an open door, it's a cage. Privilege and pressure both carried in the same name. Money can provide security, but it can't build resilience. And in golf, champions are forged not by comfort, but by sacrifice, discipline, and grit.